In the annals of criminal history, some cases transcend the boundaries of time and place, leaving an indelible mark on our collective consciousness. The tragic and deeply disturbing story of Junko Furuta, a 17-year-old Japanese high school student, is one such case. Her brutal torture and murder in 1988 sent shockwaves through Japan and beyond, exposing the darkest corners of human behavior and igniting a firestorm of debate about juvenile crime, societal responsibility, and the very nature of evil. Even today, decades later, Junko's ordeal continues to haunt us, a stark reminder of the vulnerability of innocence and the devastating consequences of unchecked brutality. Junko's story is not for the faint of heart. It is a harrowing tale of unimaginable cruelty and suffering, a stark reminder of the capacity for evil that resides within the human heart. Yet it is a story that demands to be told, not only to honor the memory of a young life brutally cut short, but also to confront the uncomfortable truths it reveals about our society and ourselves. By delving into the depths of this tragedy, we are forced to confront our own capacity for darkness and to grapple with the complex issues of justice, accountability, and the fight against the forces that threaten to consume us. This is the story of Junko Furuta, a girl who dared to dream, a girl whose life was tragically intertwined with the monstrous acts of others. It is a story that will stay with you long after you finish reading, a chilling reminder that the monsters we fear most are often not the ones lurking in the shadows, but those hiding in plain sight, their true nature masked by a veneer of normalcy. It is a story that demands to be heard, a story that demands justice, a story that demands that we never forget. Junko Furuta was a bright and cheerful girl on the cusp of adulthood, her life brimming with the promise of a future yet to be written. Born into a loving and supportive family, she was the picture of youthful innocence and ambition. Her days were filled with the typical pursuits of a teenager navigating the complexities of school, friendships, and dreams. She excelled in her studies, displaying a sharp intellect and a thirst for knowledge that endeared her to her teachers. Beyond the classroom, she was a loyal and supportive friend, always there to lend an ear or offer a shoulder to cry on. Her infectious laughter and genuine warmth brightened the lives of all who knew her. Like many girls her age, Junko harbored dreams of a future filled with love, happiness, and fulfillment. She envisioned a career that would allow her to make a difference in the world, perhaps as a teacher or a social worker. She had a deep sense of empathy and a desire to help others, traits that shone brightly in her interactions with those around her. In her spare time, she enjoyed listening to music, watching movies, and spending time with her friends and family. She had a particular fondness for pop music and dreamed of one day attending a concert by her favorite band. Junko's life was a tapestry woven from the threads of ordinary moments, made extraordinary by the love, laughter, and hope that permeated her existence. She was a shining example of the potential that resides within each of us, a beacon of light in a world often shrouded in darkness. Her story, though forever marred by tragedy, serves as a poignant reminder of the preciousness of life and the importance of cherishing every fleeting moment. For in the end, it is the memories we create and the love we share that truly define us. The series of events that would ultimately lead to Junko's horrifying demise began on a seemingly ordinary November evening in 1988. Walking home from school, she was approached by a group of teenage boys she knew from her neighborhood. Unaware of the danger that lurked beneath their seemingly normal exteriors, she accepted their invitation to hang out, her trust tragically misplaced. This seemingly innocuous encounter would mark the beginning of a 44-day ordeal of unimaginable cruelty and suffering, a descent into a nightmare from which she would never awaken. The details of Junko's captivity are too gruesome to recount in their entirety, a testament to the depths of depravity that can reside within the human heart. Held captive in a house owned by one of the perpetrator's families, she was subjected to a litany of horrors, her young body and spirit broken by relentless physical, sexual, and psychological abuse. Her captors, 4 teenage boys driven by a toxic mix of sadism, boredom, and a warped sense of power, seemed to derive pleasure from her suffering, their actions devoid of any semblance of human empathy or remorse. As days turned into nights, Junko's spirit, though battered and broken, refused to be extinguished. She clung to life, fueled by a flicker of hope that she might somehow escape the clutches of her tormentors. She endured the unimaginable, her cries for help falling on deaf ears, as her captors, emboldened by their impunity, escalated their reign of terror. The world outside remained oblivious to her suffering, the true extent of her ordeal hidden behind the walls of that house of horrors. The discovery of Junko Furuta's brutalized body on January 4, 1989, sent shockwaves through Japan, shattering the nation's perception of itself as a safe and orderly society. The sheer brutality of the crime, the young age of both the victim and her tormentors, and the extended period over which the abuse occurred, ignited a firestorm of outrage and grief. Media coverage of the case was extensive, bringing the horrors of Junko's ordeal into the homes of millions and sparking a national conversation about juvenile delinquency, the failings of the justice system, and the need for societal introspection. The 4 perpetrators, initially protected by Japan's laws regarding the identification of minors involved in criminal activity, were eventually identified and tried as adults. Their sentences, which ranged from 4 to 18 years in prison, were met with a mixed reaction from the public. Some argued that the punishments were too lenient given the heinous nature of the crime, while others believed that the justice system had failed to adequately address the underlying societal issues that contributed to the tragedy. The Furuta case became a watershed moment in Japan, prompting calls for reforms to the juvenile justice system and a renewed focus on addressing the root causes of youth crime. The government responded by introducing stricter penalties for juvenile offenders and implementing programs aimed at preventing delinquency and providing support for at-risk youth. The case also sparked a broader debate about the role of the media in shaping public opinion and the importance of responsible reporting on sensitive issues. In the aftermath of Junko's murder, her family, shattered by grief and consumed by a thirst for justice, found themselves thrust into the unforgiving glare of the public eye. Their private pain became a matter of national conversation, their every move scrutinized by a society grappling with the enormity of the crime. The media, eager to capitalize on the public's insatiable appetite for information, hounded them relentlessly, their cameras capturing every tear, every grimace, every moment of vulnerability. The Furutas, their lives irrevocably altered by the tragedy, faced the daunting task of rebuilding their lives while carrying the unbearable weight of their loss. Junko's parents, their hearts broken by the brutal slaying of their beloved daughter, became outspoken advocates for victims' rights, channeling their grief and anger into a tireless pursuit of justice and reform. They attended countless court hearings, gave numerous interviews, and participated in public demonstrations, determined to ensure that their daughter's suffering would not be in vain. The Furuta family's ordeal stands as a stark reminder of the devastating and long-lasting impact of violent crime. Their story highlights the profound ripple effects of such tragedies, extending far beyond the immediate victims to encompass families, friends, and entire communities. It serves as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the enduring power of love in the face of unimaginable loss, and the importance of compassion and support for those whose lives have been forever scarred by violence. The brutal murder of Junko Furuta cast a long shadow over Japanese society, forcing the nation to confront uncomfortable truths about juvenile crime and the effectiveness of its justice system. While Japan had long prided itself on its low crime rates and social cohesion, the Furuta case exposed a darker underbelly, revealing the existence of a small but significant segment of youth who were falling through the cracks. The case sparked a national debate about the causes of juvenile delinquency, with experts pointing to a complex interplay of factors, including family dysfunction, social isolation, bullying, and the influence of violent media. In the years following Junko's death, Japan witnessed a surge in public concern about juvenile crime, fueled by a series of high-profile incidents involving young offenders. This heightened anxiety led to calls for tougher penalties for juvenile offenders, greater parental responsibility, and increased investment in social programs aimed at preventing delinquency. The government responded with a series of reforms, including lowering the age of criminal responsibility, establishing specialized courts for juvenile offenders, and implementing programs designed to address the root causes of youth crime. Despite these efforts, juvenile crime remains a complex and persistent problem in Japan. While overall crime rates have continued to decline, certain types of offenses, such as bullying, cybercrime, and drug-related crimes, have been on the rise among young people. Addressing these challenges requires a multifaceted approach that goes beyond simply punishing offenders. It demands a commitment to understanding the underlying social, economic, and cultural factors that contribute to juvenile delinquency, and a willingness to invest in preventative measures that provide young people with the support and guidance they need to make positive choices. The tragic story of Junko Furuta stands as a chilling reminder of the darkest depths of human cruelty, a stark testament to the vulnerability of innocence in the face of unimaginable evil. It is a story that continues to haunt us, its echoes reverberating through time, challenging us to confront uncomfortable truths about our society and ourselves. Yet, amidst the darkness, there are glimmers of hope, faint but persistent, urging us to learn from the abyss and strive for a better future. Junko's legacy lies not only in the horror of her death, but also in the profound impact it had on Japanese society. Her case served as a catalyst for change, prompting reforms to the juvenile justice system, sparking a national conversation about the root causes of youth crime, and raising awareness about the importance of victim support. Her story reminds us that even in the face of unimaginable tragedy, we must never surrender to despair, but instead, use our pain as fuel for positive change. The fight against violence in all its forms is a continuous journey, one that demands unwavering vigilance, unwavering compassion, and an unwavering commitment to creating a world where such atrocities are unthinkable. We must remain vigilant in our efforts to protect the vulnerable, to address the root causes of violence, and to hold perpetrators accountable for their actions. We must never forget Junko Furuta or the countless other victims of violence, for it is through remembering that we honor their lives and reaffirm our commitment to building a safer, more just, and more compassionate world. Subscribe for more tales from the dark side of history